Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing 6 things that I wish I knew before starting my vinyl record collection. This video is kind of a part 2 to the video I made last week where I shared 3 mistakes to avoid when vinyl collecting. So if you missed that video last week, you can go ahead and check it out. I'll leave a link at the end of this video and in the description. As always, you can subscribe to my channel for more vinyl related content, and you can find some of my other vinyl related videos on my channel. I'm going to be sharing 6 things that I wish I knew before I started collecting vinyl records. I've been collecting vinyl records for almost 3 years now, so I'm pretty far into my vinyl collecting journey. Again, it's only a couple of years, but I think my vinyl collecting journey could have been a little bit easier if I knew some of these things before I got started collecting. I think this video is great for people who are just starting their vinyl record collection because some of the things I mentioned in this video you might not know about. So the first thing I wish I knew before starting my vinyl collection is how expensive a vinyl is. It is one of the more expensive hobbies to get into. I didn't really realize how many other expenses I would have to put into my collection. I wanted my collection to last a long time, and I knew I wanted to keep my records in good condition from the start. So early on I did invest in record sleeves, cleaning supplies, all that kind of stuff. That stuff wasn't too expensive, but I had to buy a lot of it, so it was starting to add up pretty quickly. New vinyl is so expensive because of my taste in music. I really only collect modern records, so I'm always like buying new releases, whether it's a new album or a repress. A lot of the new records I bought were around $20, but here and there I did find a few pressings that were like $30. Some records could be up to $40 and $50, so I wish I really knew that going in. Maybe I could have saved money for a little bit longer. I wanted to have the more high quality equipment, and that's obviously going to be more expensive than like a suitcase model turntable. My turntable I think was like $150. I wish I knew how much Audio-Technica was because that brand is expensive, but it is worth it. I didn't want to cheap out in the beginning. I just decided to pay the extra money because I knew I would thank myself later. I would invest in the start so that I wouldn't ever have to upgrade, or I wouldn't have to upgrade for a very long time. So again, I really wish I knew just how expensive starting a vinyl collection is for someone who wants to invest early and get high quality equipment when you're just starting. I really wish I knew how addicting vinyl is. Once I bought my first couple of records, I just couldn't stop buying records. There was a time a few years ago, for about 6 months, I was buying like 5 to 10 records every month. Like there was a short window in time where I was buying so many vinyl records and I was filling up my collection so fast. I didn't even realize it, but I just kept getting records in the mail. That's why for a while I had a ton of vinyl record unboxing videos, because I would just keep buying and buying and buying. So the beginning of my journey was super fun, but I didn't realize how addicting it was. I was always afraid to check my credit card statement to see like how much I actually had spent on vinyl. I'm afraid to see that number because I've probably spent now close to $1,000. Well, maybe, but I don't know. I've probably spent at least maybe $500, including my turntable, record sleeves, cleaning supplies, and records, maybe closer to 1,000 on that. I don't ever want to see the exact number because it'll probably make me go crazy. It is kind of addicting to like just buy so many different records at once. Maybe I would have like planned better how many records I'm gonna buy per month, and I would have planned out my space a little bit better. I really wish I knew just how long I would be waiting for some vinyl records. Like I said, I buy a lot of new vinyl, and new vinyl pressings, like the pre-orders, can take months and months and months to ship. I actually started collecting vinyl records in the middle of the pandemic. There were a lot of vinyl delays due to that, a lot of vinyl shortages. There were so many things going on that I didn't know about, and I was wondering why it was taking months to receive some of my pre-orders. I would have had more patience if I had known that going in. A few records in my collection that I have waited a year for, a whole year. Vinyl is also really hard to ship. Well, it's not hard, but it is kind of risky because if you're buying records online, then you'll want to make sure that it's shipped really well, and it can be really expensive to ship vinyl, which is why sometimes I've had a hard time buying vinyl because I didn't want to pay like $10 plus for shipping. So depending on where you're buying it, vinyl can be really expensive for shipping and it can take a long time. So I really wish I had thought about that. You can't really control how someone else ships the vinyl, especially if it's not from a company and it's from like some random seller on eBay. So I've definitely had records that weren't packaged very well and they came damaged. So I really wish I had known that some vinyl can take a very long time to ship and pre-order dates can vary and they can be extended. There can be so many delays. There are some very specific details that I didn't really think about. I quickly realized that I do need a lot of space, so I had to like custom build a shelf to fit all of my vinyl. I realized that double LPs or even triple LPs are way thicker than normal single LPs. The spines are much wider and sometimes you even need bigger outer sleeves. Some of my double LPs take up a lot of space, and even some records have gatefolds too, and that can also make the spines wider, which is just something I didn't really think about when starting out, you know? And as for the vinyl listening experience itself, I knew that you had to take the record out of the jacket and put it on the turntable, but I didn't really realize you have to put the jacket or the sleeve somewhere while the vinyl is actually playing. And for double LPs, there's still another record in there that you have to put somewhere safe while the other record is playing. So that's why I decided to get like one of those displays that are used for like paintings or whatever. And so when my vinyl record is playing on the turntable, I'll put the jacket and the outer sleeve on display and I'll just leave it on my desk. And I didn't even think about that when starting my collection. Like, it's so obvious, but it's just something that you may not think about. Of course, you have to clean it, and I didn't realize this, but it's actually very important to clean your records as much as possible, and you also need to clean your record player, especially the stylus. So it is a lot of work, and I just didn't really realize that going in. Of course, I don't mind it, but it's just something I didn't really think about when starting. You really have to do a lot of research when you're trying to build up your collection. When I first started my collection, I didn't even realize this, but a lot of my favorite bands and artists had a ton of their albums on vinyl in different pressings, different colored variants. It was very overwhelming because there were so many things that I wanted, and so my want list was super long, and I had to go in and research every single pressing. So the research did take a little bit of time, but I'm really glad I did it because I wanted to make sure I got exactly the right vinyl record pressing that I wanted. And I'm still finding albums that I didn't even know were pressed onto vinyl. It can also be very confusing to know which variant you are trying to buy. So if you check Discogs, there's so much information available to help you decide what to get. I think if I was to start over with my vinyl record collection, I would have done way more research first before buying anything. I probably would have taken a day or two just to research all of the albums that I wanted and all of the equipment and everything so that I could know exactly what I'm buying. The most important thing I wish I knew about when starting my vinyl record collection is record store day. I'm pretty sure I had my collection for at least 6 months before I even found out about record store day. I honestly don't remember how I exactly found out about record store day. I probably found out about it through watching other vinyl collectors on YouTube, but the whole concept of record store day was new to me and I had just missed the one from 2020. By the time I found out about record store day, it was probably around early 2021, so I had to wait until the record store day in April 2021 or whenever it was that year. I found out that some of my favorite artists like Post Malone and 5 Seconds of Summer, they had a record store day exclusive albums from years and years and years ago, like around maybe 2014, 2015, 2016. So if I had known about record store day back then, I would have started my collection years ago. A lot of the record store day pressings I have in my collection are from years past, and I had bought them secondhand on like eBay. I didn't line up to go get them the year that they came out. I had to go find them like years later, you know? Record store day is such a great way to get into vinyl. It gets all different kinds of people to go out to their local record store and support their local record store and support small businesses. You can line up early to try and get a very exclusive limited pressing. I'm really interested to see what's going to be on the list this year. Whenever the record store day list drops, I'll be making a reaction video to that and telling you guys my picks like I've done in previous years. But if I had known about record store day years ago, I would have started my collection earlier and I would have been able to have some very exclusive record store day pressings that aren't available now in 2023, or they're just so rare that the price is super expensive. Those were all 6 things that I wish I knew before starting my vinyl record collection. I hope I was able to help you guys if you're new to collecting vinyl. Vinyl collecting is such a fun hobby and it's really important to, you know, do a lot of research when you get started. I know I've been making a lot of like vinyl advice slash tip videos recently, but I wanted to get all of those out of the way first first in January, because now coming up I'm going to be posting some vinyl record unboxing videos, some vinyl shopping vlogs. I'm going to be doing all of that very soon, so subscribe if you want to see that, and if you're already subscribed, stay tuned. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned in the video, you can leave them in the comments. Also in the comments, let me know if there's anything that you wish you had known before starting your vinyl record collection. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!